Hello and welcome everyone. My name's Neeraj, the founder of Soma Breath, and I'm also the host of the 2023 Breathwork Summit with the Shift Network. I'm super excited to have our special guest today, Carolyn Stewart. Yes, all the way from Canada right now, Alberta actually, extremely cold. But she looks pretty warm right now and cozy, so looking forward to getting deep into this. So hello and welcome to the community.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I am cozy, I'm warm, yes. And I'm feeling really excited to be sharing today.
Good job. All right, so we're going to begin with an honorary breath together. So I invite you to breathe in through your nose, deep into the diaphragm. And then just squeeze all the muscles in your body as tight as you can. And then let go. That's right. The sigh of good feelings. And there we go. Nice. Yep. All right. So Carolyn is actually working a lot with breath work and also meditation, cultivating sacred spaces of deep nourishment and belonging, and offers trainings as well, where she actually shares a lot of her inspiration through the Inspiration Network podcast, on Insight Timer, with her soulful workshops and retreats. So fantastic. Looking forward to digging deep into this.
Cool. Me too. It's a juicy topic.
Yes. So tell me, how did you get into breathwork and breathing in these weird and strange and cool ways?
That's a deep question. So I'll be somewhat brief, but the truth is that I've struggled with the breath. So for quite some time, I was really challenged with the breath, and I was experiencing panic attacks and anxiety and a lot of challenge. And I went through some healing sessions that really showed me that the breath is there as a teacher, and started taking some trainings. And over time, I really came to understand the breath as a sacred messenger. And the more intimate I became with the breath, the more that I needed to start sharing it. So I started to incorporate it into my offerings, and now it's my closest ally. Yeah.
Amazing. So that's led you on this journey that you're here today.
Yes, absolutely.
So you were talking about also the power of breath work and how it works with ancestral wounds. So do you want to tell us more about that and how it restores a sense of belonging and purpose?
Yes, absolutely. So even this word ancestor, I think means something very different to everybody. And so for some, it might be really closely related to family. Others, it might be more related to, whoever came before, including the larger community. And some, it's their deep time ancestors, like way back, the cultures and communities that were closely connected to the land. And when we start to develop a relationship with our ancestors, we come to understand that our ancestors actually live here in present time. So we are a living representation of our history. So everything that we're experiencing in this present moment is our integrated past. So it's all of the parts of us that came before and have been integrated. So it's that part of self that really is embodied. Parts of us are still fragmented, right? Like we've experienced trauma, we've experienced challenges in our life, and so have our ancestors. And so those pieces of us still remain outside of presence, outside of embodied experience. And the breath helps to anchor us into presence, into the body, and it helps us to reintegrate those parts of self that have been fragmented. So it can help with ancestral wounds, ancestral trauma, and bring it into this embodied experience. So it's a really powerful practice for that.
Amazing. So why is this so important right now?
Oh, that is such a deep question. And even when I was feeling into how I would share about this, I had to choose just one way to share it because it's so vast. Joanna Macy talks about this time that we're in right now as the Great Turning. So it's the part of our living history where a lot is changing. Francis Weller speaks about this time as the long dark. So it's actually a time in our living history where we are experiencing a lot of challenge. So the insect population is declining, bird migration is way off the charts. You know, our watersheds are in jeopardy, and not to mention just the earth, but the people, community. We're disconnected more than we've ever been. And so in this time, in this moment, we are deeply needing a reconnection to belonging, to embodied experience. And when we come back into a space of presence, when we reintegrate those parts of self, we actually are better able to help serve this time of the Great Turning. So we're actually able to be an active participant in the solution, in really supporting what I call the future ones, you know, those who are to come after us, because to them, to the future ones, we are the ancestors. We are the ones who they will look back to and go, okay, you know, they were thinking of me, they had me in mind, they were preparing the road and really creating a life-sustaining space for me to be in. And so in this moment, we have a choice. We have a choice of really embracing this energy of belonging, this experience of embodied presence, or we can choose to, you know, distance ourselves. We can choose to keep ourselves separate. And it's my belief that the solution, the answer is really to choose belonging, to choose presence. Yeah.
So practically, how do we do it? Do you have any kind of tips, examples?
There's a lot. Personally, because I love the breath so much and I love really connecting in with breath work, I use the breath. So there are a lot of practices that we can do to connect to the body, you know, whether it's movement or even small, fine motor movements. So like writing, journaling is really great for connecting to the body. But breath, because it is living, because it is something you've done your entire life, your ancestors did it their entire life. When we connect in with the breath in an intentional way, we actually go into that space of presence and communion, not only with self, but with our ancestors, with soul, with the greater community. And so that's how we do it. In my belief, in my practice, I access the breath. Even right before this session, I spent time breathing with my ancestors. I spent time really reconnecting with, you know, who I am in this present moment and what I'm being asked to do, what I'm being asked to share. And I believe that we can all do that. You know, the breath is something that we all have access to at all times. And when we learn how to consciously tune into it, it's something that can support us. It can be our ally throughout our lives.
So why don't you give us a little taste of what you're talking about? Because I think the best way is to actually embody it and experience it. So if you have a little session you can do for us, I think that'd be really, really beneficial.
I would love to do that. So yeah, this will probably take about 15 minutes or so. And my invitation then is to get a little bit comfy. So rather than, you know, being in a space or a position that feels a little bit uncomfortable, make sure you really take the time to set up the body for comfort. So moving and shifting the hips into a space of equal weight and balance. feeling yourself grounded. So be really generous with your weight. So allow the heaviness of your body to sink into the chair, into the earth below. And notice that the more generous you are with your weight, the more you are supported from the earth below. So really feel that experience of support rising up to meet you. And then from this grounded, rooted, supported base, lift up through the spine. So all the way up, tucking the chin, roll the shoulders back. And just notice how that opens the chest. We're going to be doing a lot of breathing in this practice. So it's important that the chest is open. You can soften the gaze or close the eyes if you haven't already. And just come into a space of curiosity about what is present for you in this moment, resting attention on the breath, watching and witnessing the breath as it is in this moment. Now notice how the breath is flowing in the body. There's a movement that happens in the central channel, up and down the spine. And set the intention in this practice to connect to soul. And so I drew attention to that central channel, that energy, that movement and flow of breath. Because even if you don't have a definition for soul, you can tune into this energy and know it as soul, know this as truth. And this is the essential energy that came with you into this life, that was passed down from your ancestors so that you may continue the breath, this flow of energy. And my invitation to you is that you offer the breath reverence. Reverence for this connection to spirit, to self, to ancestors, to community. And know the breath as part of your living history. The breath as deeply wired in your DNA, in your lineage. So again, simply witnessing the breath for now. And setting the intention also to make the breath welcome. To offer it a house, a home of belonging. Sometimes we resist what the breath is seeking to show us in the present moment. And I believe it's really important that we open up to what is present for us and allow those messages, allow the breath to show us what is happening in our experience, what is present for us. And when I connect to the breath in this way, when I start to watch and witness and make welcome the breath, I connect to it all. I connect more deeply with self. I connect more deeply with my ancestors, with my community, to the future ones. And I start to become really finely tuned to the subtle sensations that are present in my body in this moment. And so as we start to engage the breath, we're going to move through this experience of expanding fields of awareness. So we'll start first with self, breathing in and out of the heart space. My invitation is that you breathe in through your nose and feel the breath coming into your heart space and expanding the heart. And as you exhale, you can soften and release out the mouth or the nose, just allowing the breath to be easy. So every breath in, we draw in through the nose into the heart space. Starting to fill a little bit more deeply. Exhale and soften. Breathing in through the nose, again, filling the heart, softening the belly, expanding the chest. And so we'll continue in this way. Keep breathing in and out through the heart, activating our heart center, this center both of our physical and energetic body, and then also the connection point between our inner and outer world, connection point between our past and our future. And my invitation is that you softly and gently listen to what the breath is seeking to show you. What are you feeling in this moment? So just notice what sensations are present as you continue to breathe in and out of your heart space. So notice if there is emotion present. Notice if there are sensations present. Maybe you can name it as a feeling. For me, I really struggle with naming my feelings in a visceral, felt way. So even if you can't name the feeling, connect with the sensation, connect with what you're feeling in the body. Maybe there's an expansiveness in the chest. Maybe there's a heaviness in the heart. Maybe there's a little bit of bubbling or tingling in the belly. Whatever it is, make it welcome. And one of the beautiful things about the breath is it will show you what you're feeling or sensing. So whatever sensations are present will be represented in your breath pattern and rhythm. And so the more that you tune into the breath and these sensations, the more that you'll come to know these messages and you'll be able to respond to them. And we're now going to shift our awareness of expanding out a little bit further into the space of our ancestors. So setting the intention to begin to draw in the awareness of your ancestors. And maybe you begin by first connecting into what that means for you. When I speak the word ancestor, what does that mean? So all experiences of this are welcome. And if it feels good to you, if it feels available, you can welcome your ancestors in. So continuing to breathe in and out of your heart space, holding awareness of your ancestors. Maybe start to notice if you feel a new connection, a new possibility of expanded awareness that includes your ancestors. So are you breathing with them now? Can you feel them present in your breath? Breathing in and out of your heart. Starting to build coherence into your own nervous system, welcoming your ancestors in so that now you are breathing coherence in with them. You are creating connection. And one of the ways that I welcome my ancestors in is by asking what they need from me. So oftentimes we approach these practices by asking for something without first the good manners of asking what is needed from me. So perhaps asking your ancestors, what is needed from me in this moment? Maybe it's a little bit of compassion. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's a willingness to be present with, to feel more deeply. Breathe with your ancestors. Know your ancestors as part of your living history. You are an expression of all of your past, all of the lessons that your ancestors learned and that you learned in this lifetime, in this life experience. Who you are and why you're here and what is being asked of you is an expression of all of this. And so as you breathe in and out of your heart space, connecting with your ancestors, really feel the fullness of all of their dreams, all of their visions, all of their wisdom. And this is a really beautiful opportunity, if you so choose, to ask them a question. What is it that you'd like to know? Perhaps it's about your history, it's about them. Maybe it's about the experience you're having in your life right now, a challenge you're facing. Ask them a question. And this question may not be for answering right now, but rather we're activating it in our information field. So through your life, through your experiences, you might start to get messages and images and new possibilities arise. So allow this question to drop into the depths of your experience, depths of your body. Allow it to become embodied, and then let it go. Take a nice deep breath in. Good. Keep breathing in and out of your heart space. We have one more circle of awareness to go. So our ancestors are with us now, and we have an opportunity to expand outward into community. Whatever community means to you, maybe it's the people who are close to you, maybe it's a global community, maybe it is all of the humans and the more than humans, the plants, the animals, the earth. As Francis Weller calls it, the anima mundi, the soul of the world. Breathe with this, breathe with the community that you are connected to in and out through your heart. Build coherence into your nervous system so that you can connect and build coherence into the greater field of awareness. Breathe with the people, the plants, the animals, the rocks, the soil, the living and the non-living world that all rely on me in this moment to be responsible, to be able to respond to what is being asked of me. And tune into that. What is being asked of me in this greater whole? What is being asked of me in this moment, this life-sustaining ask? And notice how the collective ancestral wisdom that you've tuned into will help to inform this. And again, this might be a question for answering later. Perhaps we've simply activated it in your field of awareness now. What is being asked of me? Continue to breathe in and out through the heart. Grounding into your body. Grounding into your ancestry, into community, into earth. Breathe with it all. And feel the resonance of it. When we tune in this way, it creates a resonance, a ripple, a frequency. It's almost like an instrument, the breath vibrating the strings of this greater resonating body. And the body that is life. And the life-sustaining legacy that we are building, that we are creating for the future ones. And as we start to prepare to close the practice, I always like to finish with gratitude. So placing awareness, focus, even hands on heart. And just connecting in with that energy of thankfulness, of gratitude, of appreciation. And one of the things that I love about gratitude is that it is the energy of completion. So we are grateful for what already is, already has been. And so when we draw this energy into our heart, We actually invoke this. It's a prayer of completion. What we've asked for is already made manifest. It is already so. Now starting to come back into the space of present time, feeling into the edges of the body, feeling yourself grounded, rooted down, supported by the earth, again, being generous with your weight, allowing everything to sink down. And then before opening your eyes, I invite you to visualize the space around you, the colors, the shapes, the forms. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back into this space. And come back with reverence. So looking around the space and taking in all of the colors and the shapes and the forms. And every time I do this, every time I come out of a practice, I offer gratitude for the shelf, for the desk, for all of the many ways that I'm supported in this life. And I admire the beauty that is present in my experience. Thank you so much for practicing with me.
Thank you. Lovely. Great instruction, and took to a nice place. Channeling Lao Tzu, Chinese philosopher.
Oh, I love that.
Perfect human breathes like they don't breathe at all. That's my mantra. Amazing. So how do we like learn more about this technique? Like, do you offer like courses, training, and where can we go with this? Do you have other techniques as well that you want to discuss?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a lot on Insight Timer, so you can definitely check out all of that. I've got a lot on there. One of the gifts that I'm providing for the summit is actually a recording of a practice like this. So you can access that. And you can find me on my website or social media, and I can share that. I'm assuming it's part of this. So there are a lot of practices that are available, a lot that we can go deeper into in terms of connecting with ancestral wisdom and healing through the breath.
Well, do you want to share some of your results that you've had? Like, you worked with people in person. I'd love to hear some of your inspirational stories.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. Well, recently I was guiding a breathwork practice. It was more of a rebirthing practice where we went into a lot of the origins of breath, and the focus was on grief. So we did a really big transformational experience. And after the practice, so we brought in the ancestors, we brought in the breath, and went into the space of deep grief. There were so many releases. I had a few people reach out afterwards whose parents had passed away within the last year. And the work of reconnecting to them through the ancestral wisdom and utilizing the breath as that anchor was really powerful. So one person in particular was sharing about how that was the first time they were able to grieve. That was the first time they were really able to connect in with the love that they had been holding and feeling for this person. And a lot of ancestral work will bring up grief. And I think that's important. I think that to the degree that we're able to grieve is the degree we're able to love. So that's one of the biggest experiences that I've had in the last year, just really witnessing the reintegration of love, of grief, as it relates to these practices of the ancestors. Yeah.
Beautiful. And this is very important at this time period, right?
Yes.
With what's been going on, especially probably Canada.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
Right? So I'm sure you got lots of clients now because of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's very important. So did you want to go a bit more deeper into belonging and community? Because this is some of my most passionate values.
Yeah, to begin with, I believe that we all know what it means not to belong. And even the word belonging, the two words, parts of it are being, and longing. And so even the use of that word is to be in the longing of it, or it's the being of that longing to be made welcome, to be part of something. And this is part of why I bring in the ancestors quite a bit, because our deep time ancestors, the ones who were land-based cultures, who lived in villages, who were more connected to the earth, community was everything. You had a role, you were nurtured. One of the things that I feel is missing these days is the elders would watch and witness the children and look for the skills and the innate qualities within them that required nurturing. And they would bring that out in them. And I feel that that's missing in adults. So there's a lot of uninitiated adults walking around. And I know, because I was one of them. And when we start to do these practices of belonging and connect with others who want to walk this same path of remembering, we start to experience this new way of being. And one of my mentors was sharing the power of experiencing belonging. It's like, until we can fully unpack in this life, until we can fully feel like we belong here, we're not able to share our gifts. We're not able to actually, set up shop, put on our clothes, go out and be of service to the world. So I believe it's the first step, is to find spaces of belonging, these spaces of safety, of connection, and to remember these old ways of being in a space of reverence about each other. We can even look at our friends, our children, and go and really recognize what it is in them, their skills, what they're here to share, and reflect that. And I believe that really helps us to establish that sense of belonging, to really come back into the space of embodied presence. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. So as breath workers, we have an incredible opportunity right now.
Yes.
To really do some great work. And actually the emphasis is on unity and opportunity. Is that we've been so divided over the last few years. Bringing people back together, uniting people, it's super important.
Yes.
If we're going to survive as a species on this planet.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the things that I would love to just touch on is how important it is that we recognize that we're not separate from. So I think one of the greatest misunderstandings of our time is that we live on this earth. But the truth is that we're part of it. So what is happening to the earth, we feel in our bodies. And whatever we do in terms of healing, in terms of really helping to heal the planet and ourselves and our communities, it ripples out. We all feel it. So I think it's really important that we recognize we're not separate.
So fantastic, and really simple and to the point, which I love. So as we're getting towards the end of this discussion, I'd like to give some questions for you to inspire everybody listening right now. If you were to take a deep breath in and answer the question, if you had, one message to leave with our planet, let's say you're about to spontaneously evaporate into the ether and go back to your heavenly ancestral realm, what would that message be?
The first thing that I feel and sense is gratitude. So I just want to offer thankfulness, appreciation for all of the life-sustaining choices that my ancestors have made, everything that they've done that has brought me here to this moment, everything that's informed. And I can feel it, I can feel it right here. And also, I'm taking up the work now. I'm bringing you along, and I'm taking up that mantle, and I'm committed to doing this work for the future ones. So please know that all of your struggles, all of your lessons were not in vain.
Beautiful message. So where can people find out more about you? And is there anything last you want to share? Like maybe, if people want to experience some of your things, what do you offer? And
yeah, absolutely. So one of the easiest ways is through Insight Timer. So I've got a lot there. On my website at inspiredme.ca, I have teacher trainings. So there's trainings in meditation and breathwork. I also do one-on-one sessions. And there's a whole bunch of smaller recordings and 5-day journeys, those sorts of things where you can get a taste of the practices and maybe dive a little bit deeper. And one of the things that I love is real-time connection. And so if you're in Canada, please reach out, and perhaps there's an opportunity for an in-person event. That's always a possibility. But yeah, through the website and through Insight Timer are the best. Also social media at The Inspired Me.
great stuff. So any last words you want to share with everybody? Or
Yeah. One of the questions that I would just like to leave you with is, what is the life-sustaining legacy that you are leaving for the future ones? And I think that's a question that can sometimes feel a little bit uncomfortable. And the breath will guide you into a space of possibility there. And yeah, just really connecting into that possibility and knowing that you're here for a reason. You've chosen this moment, you've chosen this time, this body for a reason. So what is the life-sustaining legacy that you are leaving for the future ones?
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I like to also write the my gravestone. Like that's a question I ask, is like, how do you want to be remembered when you die? Your obituary. All of these questions really spark the deep soul to answer the truth.
Yes.
So yeah.
Do you have one for your tombstone?
I mean, in a nutshell, it's like to have mattered, to have made a difference in the world, a positive difference in the world.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, just succinct. And yours?
Yeah, I know I opened that can of worms.
And everyone listening right now should have a think about that too.
Yes, yeah. For me, it's about slow living. So I lived well. I lived intentionally, and I was present. I was really, really present.
Amazing. Well, the way the world is going at the moment and technology, we may be the last generation to die. So
it's possible.
It is possible. I know it's kind of a scary thought too. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking and connecting. Much love.
Thank you so much.
Peace.